The number one most important thing for every Amazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft, lies the power to liberate Amazonia.
Amazonians. I woke up this morning really angry. As I looked, I saw green, red, yellow. I was wondering what kind of country is this, which says that red is its middle color, cuts across from the top to the bottom. That means it's a bloody country. A country will ever know blood as its middle name. That country is a country of hyenas, blood suckers, blood-thirsty, blood drinkers, vampires. The worst thing that happened in our history was for us to unite gentle people, civilized people of the southern Cameroon Amazonia to go and join animals, wild animals, who cannot have a conversation, with anyone, who don't have friends, who don't know what the term brother or sister means. We ask a question, they slaughter us like pigs, they kill us anyhow with total impunity. They think it's their right to kill us. I was angry this morning. Are you angry? Are you wondering how long this will go? Why this must end? Or you are worried about some little things between you and somebody here and there? Are you going to channel this anger? Are you going to draft? Are you coming for the federal draft? Are you coming to empower us to do whatever is humanly possible to separate ourselves from these barbarians? Let me say this. If you refuse to draft for Amazonia, it is a draft for La Republic. That's the truth. It means you have drafted for La Republic. If you don't empower us to fight this monster, these animals, who don't even qualify to be our neighbors. They don't qualify. They don't qualify to be our neighbors, talk less of brothers, deceivers. Yeah. The best place that these people belong is to, if it were possible, if I were the God Almighty, I will roll them up together like a carpet and throw them in the abyss. That is where La Republic du Cameroon belongs, and all of them. Animals, not fit to exist in the kingdom of humans. Talk less of being our neighbors. And some people say we should cohabit with them. Are you kidding me? If you don't draft for the federal government, if you don't draft now to empower us to fight this fight to the end, your excuses notwithstanding, you have drafted for La Republic du Cameroon. You have empowered them to kill us and take us as their slaves forever. You see, they are ambassadors of evil coming to our zone, to the Midlands, to Abakwa. Because whatsoever Abakwa says, that is what goes in Amazonia. See them coming. So what will you do this Saturday for the draft? What will you do? Can somebody tell me what you propose to do? To stay home, to withhold your currency, your money, your draft, to find some reasonable excuse, which will be finally unreasonable. This Saturday, April 2024, all roads lead to the Midland draft. If you are not coming or you are not drafting, you have done evil to yourself, to your people, and to generations to come. Because this is the assignment of our lifetime. The assignment is to draft. This is Amazonia versus the world. Draft. Your might is needed, like those of our ASA. For they are betting this with their lives. Let us bet with our substance. I'm waiting for you. The time is 8 p.m. Amazonia time. This Saturday, April 2024. Be there. Share this video. Share this audio. Invite somebody. Talk to somebody to think again. Talk to somebody who wants to stay aloof, who is to draft and is thinking not to draft. Tell him that we either draft for our people or we draft for La Republic. Let them make a choice. God bless you, for I and my family will draft, whether it is rain or shine, whether it is convenient or inconvenient. There is a war to fight. There is a victory to win. This is it. Thank you for coming. God bless you.
The number one most important thing for every Amazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, Within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities, we will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft lies the power to liberate Ambazonia. Good evening, fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to this exceptional draft day. We're talking about the Midlands. It's a very important draft for the people of Ambazonia for 2024 because they would consider it to be the turning point. We're talking about major counties, powerhouses like Mezam, like Momo, like Manyo, like BLM. Shout out to all the leaders of these esteemed counties, the county officials and authorities, the LGA chairs. I want to applaud you for your unwavering sacrifices that you're making to ensure that your people are free. Bui, Savannah, under Savannah, they're counting a lot on you. Those parts in Amazonia that are seemingly hot are looking up to you for this change. Yaoundé is watching tonight to see the faith that we as a people of Amazonia still have for this movement. It is Amazonia this week, and we begin it with a discussion that will have to do with the Midland draft. I want to congratulate all those who have started what they call on our different platforms. They started draft. Ambazonians are excited. Ambazonians are looking up to this day. Our brothers and sisters that are in the thick equatorial forest are looking up to you. Refugees in Nigeria scattered all around the world, subjected to inhumane conditions, are counting on you tonight. The president has given an ultimatum. We've seen how President Sako is willing to ensure that Cameroon's selection, not election, scheduled for 2025, must not happen in the Federal Republic of Amazonia. But how do we stop this? The boys who have pledged their lives to stop this are looking up to you who have pledged your money. Today, we're coming to celebrate as we put together our resources to enhance these initiatives of the federal government. And I won't waste any minute of your time. I will immediately have our barristers to begin this program right after the break. Stay tuned. Good evening, Barrister Fru. Good evening, Barrister Mbesia. We have so much to discuss this evening. but we have a very, very limited time. Last week was very energizing and educative. We began our conversation examining the real leader of La République du Cameroon's strange visit into Bamenda, where he was trying to be implicated with internal affairs. It has been criticized by many that unless he is a leader, diplomats, foreign diplomats in another country do not meddle in internal issues, like the French ambassador was attempting to do in Ambazonia. There are two folds to this story. First of all, it was an encroachment of our sovereignty. Secondly, it was evidence that there is void in the leadership of Yaoundé. That is not where we will begin. We stretch our conversation into elections, and we were able to touch into the possibility of having our leaders that are suffering in the dungeons liberated. There was a strong conversation, or should I say debate, on the legality and the involvement of Nigeria when it has to do with the Naira tent. I would like us to cue in from there very briefly. On one side of the story, Barrister Fru John, so if I'm mistaken, you may want to correct me, thought that Nigeria was not implicated in this matter. On the other
No,
side,
that's wrong. That is wrong.
okay, you
That
may
is wrong.
correct it when you have
The two parties violated the international convention. I said that. But if you look at it very closely, it was a military operation between La République du Cameroon and the Nigerian military. Because that general who caused the arrest of our people and they were detained on the ground in the DSS headquarters. They were never seen by the examining magistrate. They never appeared in court, and they were loaded into a Cameroon military plane.
Yeah, military plane.
Yes, it was a military operation between the two parties. That everybody agrees. Nigeria and Cameroon violated. But what I'm saying is that if you look at the facts very closely, Nigeria is they commit the same crime, but Nigeria's position was, according to me, Nigeria had a lesser degree of the commission than Cameroon, because Cameroon came in with violated the airspace, came in with the plane, came in with the military men, and they jointly arrested our people. And Cameroon carried the people, the Nigerian military man allowed the people to be loaded. They never saw a judge. There was nothing judiciary about it from Nigeria. The only judicial thing that took place was in Cameroon.
Okay,
that's what I said. I didn't say that Nigeria was not.
I agree with you on that. And the good point of this conversation is, at this point, we have all agreed that it was a conspiracy between the Buhari government and the Nigerian government. That the judiciary was not involved does not free Nigeria from the crime.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't free them.
And I'm very happy that we've come to that agreement, because a lot of Ambazonians in the course of the week were worried that perhaps I understand that from a diplomatic standpoint, you may be right to some extent the way you want to put it, Barrister Fru. I agree with you on that. But Nigeria cannot be excluded in this rascal.
Oh no, by no means. By no means. Nigeria and Cameroon violated the international convention on the protection of refugees and asylum seekers. That convention that was signed in 1951 and ratified by the two countries.
Yes.
Nigeria was not supposed to send
Nigeria was not supposed to send refugees and asylum seekers to the country from where they are running from. They call it the principle of non-refoulement.
Non-refoulement. Also,
yes,
it's always important for us to state that even if these people were legally arrested for any reason, Nigeria does not have an extradition treaty with Cameroon.
Yes,
so
by
how
no
they
means.
found out in Yaoundé is a mystery in the face of international law. Thank you very much. That is the brief that I wanted you to bring in. So before I get in touch with you or get to the mic to you, Barrister Mbesia, I like to bring some humor to this. You remember when we were young, not like today that our kids deny eating meat. So the day they are cooking chicken, not this agric fowl of today, the real chicken, everybody's trying to steal. So I'm seeing Nigeria is like this baby that has opened the hot pot of soup and dipped the hand to steal the meat, and then gets the door open and then force it into the mouth and is trying to swallow it, but there's oil in the hand. So no matter what Nigeria is doing, in respite of the Abuja High Court ruling, Nigeria is a part of the crime from its inception. But Sambesi, I'll speak on this very briefly so that we can get into the crux of today's broadcast.
Thank you very much. The problem is that sometimes we take a topic and attempt to analyze it, we do more than we are required to do within the limits of what is before us. If we remember, this debate came up because we have some Cameroonian lawyers in Nigeria talking to the Nigerian House of Assembly, asking them to enforce the decisions of the Abuja High Court by releasing those people. And our argument was this: could they do it? But I also had the opinion that they could take it to the ICJ or something like that and have it done.
Yeah.
Again, I want to focus essentially on what the Abuja High Court was about and what these lawyers are trying to do. I've looked at that case very, very well. The Abuja High Court that they are trying to enforce its judgment, the suit did not include Cameroon. The plaintiffs, those who were deported, sued the Nigerian government for all what you and me have said, the illegality, the arrest, the forceful being sent to Cameroon. And then the Abuja High Court ruled in their favor. That is, the ruling is Nigeria. There are two arms of that ruling. One of the arms of the ruling is that the Nigerian government should pay them so much money.
Correct.
And the second arm of that judgment is that the Nigerian government should bring them back from Cameroon. I had said, and I'm still saying, that it was impossible for them to do what they are doing. First, Nigerian government, as it stands now, cannot take that case to the ICJ or any other court and complain against Cameroon about it. Why? Because Cameroon was not a party to the suit, one. Secondly, for them to even do that, if that was even legally possible, they will have, first of all, because there are two arms of the judgment, pay so much money and bring them back. They cannot go to international court and say, well, we cannot have the money, pay it for us. So for them even to do that, they have to execute the judgment that is binding on them. Payment of these people for illegally doing what you did.
Yeah.
Can they do that? They have not paid their own money. They cannot carry the same judgment and ask you or me, a third party, to help them execute the judgment against somebody who was not even party to the judgment.
Yeah.
Secondly, I said, and I still said, that once Cameroon, the enemy, all of us consider them an enemy, once they successfully lay hands on the people they are looking for, legally or illegally, once they're in their custody, No foreign government, no foreign institution can say you must bring them back because you don't have the instrument to enforce it. You can write nothing down, well, bring them back. Just like Abuja High Court said, bring them back. But they will not bring them back based on that judgment because that's the man they wanted. They got them to their custody illegally. They're not going to accept the illegality by bringing them back. Again, Nigeria cannot take that judgment. The only court, superior court, the superior court in this instance will refer to the ICJ and say, help us bring back these people. Because they were pleading their own illegality. They are the ones who helped Cameroon. In my own case, if I was even suing them, I would say that they arrested the guys and sent them to Cameroon because the Cameroon people, there's no way the Cameroon airplanes will even go across the Nigerian airspace. Only all foreign airspace without the permission of the home government. There's no way they even go there. And if they went on and landed in Abuja, there's no way they would take cars and drive on the road, go to Nera Hotel, and arrest people there without the. In fact, there are the Nigerian security forces that were leading them, showing them where they are. I may not add this by saying, all of us know, for those of us who know, we know that what we call Cameroon, Akwaya is administratively part of Cameroon. Akwaya has no road, leaving Manfe to Akwaya.
Yeah.
They have a police station there, for example. I have cousins who worked in Akwaya police station. And for them to go to Akwaya, they go to Nigeria and then go across to Akwaya.
Yeah.
And the law was this. It's the same law. Once you wore your police uniform and got to the boundary between Cameroon and Nigeria, you have to remove your police uniform, put it in your bag, wear your civilian clothes, then walk to Akwaya. When you get to Akwaya, you can wear it. Because they will not let you cross the country in military uniform. And so I see stand by that fact that we wish, listen to us, our brothers in Yaoundé, in Kodengi, we're not wishing them to be there.
Yeah.
We're not wishing them there. They should be released right now because they had no reason even being arrested. So this our analysis does not go to say that we support their being imprisoned.
Yeah, I really don't want us to spend so much time on this. We have so much to spend. We have just about 40 minutes. We have to cover before the draft officially begins. But Stafru, if you
just 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Yes. When we did that case in Abuja, we were under no illusion that it can be executed easily. The idea was for Nigeria to contact Cameroon and say, listen, there's a judgment against us that these people must be brought back. And so far, Buhari didn't do it, and it further confirms the fact that Nigeria was fully involved in the crime. My only thing is that Cameroon was more involved because talking to my clients, the people that stormed that hotel was a joint military operation between Nigeria and Cameroon.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, if Nigeria took the point to diplomatically or officially invite Cameroon to send those people back, Nigeria will have a case to present.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They are involved, and up to today, we cannot say that a judgment that is issued by a central high court in Abuja, the capital of Nigeria, is unenforceable. There must be a way of enforcing. And last time, Barrister Ambessa indicated that a third-party country can go to the ICJ and ask for their release. That I agree with. But Nigeria, if Nigeria had contacted Cameroon and Cameroon refused to send them back, Nigeria can also interplead in the ICJ to get them back.
In conclusion, listening to both of you from last week into this week, it is evident that we need some sort of an extraordinary means to have these people, not just them, not just the Naira 10, but
No, no,
the Taraba.
I brought that up. Sorry,
Yes,
I brought that up. There are 37 people from Taraba State and about
just a moment.
9 from Calabar
Yes,
that are in
the
the same
Taraba
situation.
in Calabar, and even our other prisoners of war or conscience, I would rather call them prisoners of war, who are suffering in the dungeons of the entire French Republic of Cameroon. And that's why we're here tonight. It's very important for us to reiterate it. The reason we're here today is because of that means or that strategy we believe collectively as Amazonians that this is the way forward. We cannot expect Cameroon to change overnight and be a civilized people. If you heard what the president said when he was advising those he's inviting for tonight's draft, he brought very close to our hearts the fact that Cameroon is not civilized. Cameroon has never listened, and they're not going to start today. We want to
Yeah.
look at something very special. It's going to take us, I believe Star Smart prepared a report for us. I'm going to give her an opportunity to bring that up now. It has to do with chaos in the corridors of power in Yaoundé. As we examine this, we as Amazonians want to prepare ourselves for the imminent danger that awaits Yaoundé. What are we going to do to take advantage of this chaos? Right after that, we'll come back to talk briefly on the strategies that must be implemented by us and why we must ensure that the draft of tonight is actually the turning point that the government is expecting. Stay tuned.
Chaos in the corridors of power. Well, in the light of the current political situation in La République, it is evident that President Paul Biya's regime is plagued by both incapacity and corruption, sparking widespread discontent, especially amongst the youth. A recent lamentation from a youth echoes Lord Acton's famous quote about power and corruption, highlighting the dangers of unchecked authority. Issues such as the disintegration of governance, neglect of institutional functions like the National Council of Magistracy, Paul Biya's autocratic rule marked by his symbolic absence from public events and disruptions caused by road closures for his motorcade are prominent concerns. Additionally, there are reports of assimilation efforts on the southern Cameroons and economic exploitation in the southern Cameroons, exacerbating tensions. The lamentation drawing upon Lord Acton's famous quote, "Power tend to corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely," underscores the dangers of unchecked authority, particularly in the realms of politics and government. Paul Biya, at the age of 93, continues to cling to power despite his evident inability to discharge his duties effectively. This has sparked frustration amongst youth in the Cameroons who are witnessing the stagnation and decline of their country under Paul Biya's prolonged rule. There is indeed chaos in the corridors of power in Yaoundé. Where is the nonagenarian? Well, a 90-year-old incumbent who has stayed in power for 40 years and counting is nowhere to be found. Problems with finances, the economy in shambles, fights between ministers. We've seen La République's ministers spiting each other. La République Minister of Sports appointing a head coach without the consent of even the mere knowledge of the president of the colonial Cameroon's Football Federation, Fecafoot, who only gets the whims of this information on social media like the rest of the public. The disjointedness since Biya has been glaring. Just last year, we saw how the Prime Minister of La République, a Southern Cameroons born who has chosen the side of the belligerent La République over the Southern Cameroons, his people. We saw how he sent a delegation purportedly to meet with Southern Cameroons leaders in Canada. But this move with an intention to have the Canadian government mitigate. But then this move was met with a harsh rebuttal from the Minister of Communications, Rini Sadi. Did the Minister of Communications consult with the Prime Minister before that refutal? Prime Minister, who is purportedly the head of government, will make a decision and will be resisted by the Minister of Communication. Well, this is just another situation that reveals a Prime Minister that was not respected in a government he is supposed to be heard. Well, what is impossible in La République? Probably because he is a Southern Cameroonian born, that is why he is neglected and not heard. Well, we've seen political leaders in the Cameroons like Albert and Songa that provoked the office of the Prime Minister as well. Has there really been a leader or leadership in La République? Amidst all of this chaos of over 40 years, President Paul Biya is insistent to be the president in the upcoming elections. Even though many believe he is suffering from dementia, he is insisting to be a candidate, a presidential candidate at 92. As if things couldn't get any worse, speculations also have it that he is trying to hand over power to his son when he retires from the presidency. Wasn't it glaring when the coup took place in Gabon and Paul Biya's government preemptively made a reshuffle of the military in La République to avoid the chance of his office nabbed from him? Wasn't that glaring? Apparently, Mr. Paul Biya has invested his entire time at the Unity Palace to solidify his position using the military, modifying it to his advantage. And mind you, before he was handed power by Hijo, there was nothing like the bees. For the record, the highest war La République has fought is the war against the Southern Cameroon. So why so much militarization? Why creating the bees? Now, when you find a leader investing so much in his army without fighting wars, what does that tell you? It becomes apparent that such a leader doesn't want to lead by public consensus, using the military to reinforce his stay on the presidential seat, which has been one strategy since he was handed power, is exactly what he's doing. While the lamentation of the youth in the Cameroons sheds light on several key issues plaguing Paul Biya's regime, which includes the inability of President Paul Biya to actively engage in governance, which is exemplified by his reliance on proxies to meet with important dignitaries, as seen in the recent reception of guests by the Secretary General of the Presidency at the Atudi Palace. This delegation of responsibilities underscores Paul Biya's diminished capacity to fulfill his duties as head of state. Another point that shows La République's president going MIA, missing in action, is the recent visit of the French ambassador, who went into Bamenda, a major town in the southern Cameroons, acting like the president of the Cameroons. It would not be far from the truth for us to believe that the Cameroons is effectively governed by France, because that is not in the place of a diplomat. An ambassador doesn't go out for political campaigns in a country that is not his, because that is what the French ambassador's actions were. Question is, where is La République's Paul Biya amidst all of this? Diplomats do not bother themselves about internal policies publicly at that. This just goes further to confirm French leadership of La République in the absence of the incumbent nonagenarian President Paul Biya. There is also the neglect of institutional functions. Taking a look at the National Council of Magistracy's failure to convene for 4 years, leading to a cascade of consequences such as stalled judicial appointments and unemployment amongst legal professionals. This institutional neglect reflects a broader pattern of dysfunction within La République's governance structures. There is also the autocratic rule and symbolic absence of the incumbent president. Paul Biya's prolonged absence from public events and ceremonial duties, such as presiding over national sporting events and official receptions for visiting dignitaries, has eroded the symbolic authority of the presidency. The absence of these traditional markers of leadership has contributed to a sense of disillusionment and loss amongst the Cameroonian populace. There's road closures and disruption of daily life. The closure of roads for Paul Biya's motorcade, once a symbol of authority and prestige, has become a source of inconvenience and resentment for ordinary citizens. The call for continuation of power, despite widespread dissatisfaction with Paul Biya's rule, there are voices within his inner circle advocating for his continued candidacy. in the upcoming elections. The Minister of Communications particularly telling the press that it is left for the 93-year-old President Paul Biya on seat for over 40 years to decide if he wants to contest for the presidency next year again or not. Well, this call for Paul Biya to extend his tenure further underscores the entrenched nature of corruption and power dynamics within La Republique's political elite. Well, assimilation of the Southern Cameroons is certainly on the list of things that has happened under Paul Biya's administration. The situation in the Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia, is fraught with historical grievances. The Southern Cameroons, aside from the long-felt marginalization after their stolen independence by the government of La Republique, have witnessed La Republique's assimilation efforts, which includes La Republique's control over Ambazonia's political institutions. Decisions in the Southern Cameroons are made without the input of Southern Cameroons or consideration for her unique cultural and historical context. There have been efforts to suppress Southern Cameroonian cultures and language with the imposition of French language and culture in schools and public institutions. This has fueled resentment and a sense of cultural erosion amongst the Southern Cameroon's populace. There you see the assimilation. Even after the Southern Cameroon's stolen independence and sovereignty, with its resources and wealth, it still faces economic, developmental, infrastructural neglect compared to La Republique du Cameroon. Southern Cameroon's Amazonia has had their natural resources exploited for the benefit of the elites in French Cameroon. The government's response to Southern Cameroon's Amazonia call for independence in the Southern Cameroons has only been met with a heavy-handed security crackdown. Reports of human rights abuses, including extrajudicial killings, we're talking about massacres, arbitrary arrest, torture, and so many other human rights violations have been documented by international human rights organizations. Despite calls for dialogue and peaceful resolutions of grievances, there has been a lack of meaningful engagement from La Republique's president, Southern Cameroonian activists, and leaders advocating for self-determination that have faced intimidation instead and persecution. It is one thing for the president of a nation to choose to retrograde in terms of social, economic, political, and administrative endeavors, but it is certainly another thing to keep a people who are not legally part of your nation hostage, usurping the next nation's resources without doing anything for the nation and without letting them go to assert their independence. Adding to the list, La Republique tops the chart of human rights violation all the time, and not just against the Southern Cameroon's Amazonia, even on international scene. Paul Biya's military still finds itself in court defending itself from charges of human rights abuse, as well as featuring in countries of corruption on different levels. All of this shows the absence of leadership and a leader as well. Where again is Paul Biya? Well, with the dysfunctional state of La Republique's political and administrative structure, the lack of order, abuse/misuse of power, all of these just point to the chaos in the corridors of powers that goes unchecked by the international community. Well, in conclusion, the lamentation of the youths serve as a poignant reflection of the grievances harbored by Cameroonian youths towards the incumbent regime led by Paul Biya for this over 40 years, which highlights the urgent need for political reform and the restoration of accountability within Cameroon's governance structure to address the systemic issues of incapacity and corruption that continues to undermine La Republique's socio-economic development that as well impact the Southern Cameroon's right to self-determination.
Wow.
That is amazing, Star Smart. Congratulations for taking out time to do that coverage for us this week. My question to you is, are we ready to take advantage of these loopholes? Maybe I should begin with you, Barrister Fro.
Yes, that is the reason why President Sako has titled this draft this year as the exit draft. If we don't have the means and the capability to react to the chaos that is beginning in La République du Cameroon, we will not succeed in the exit draft. That is why drafting and drafting and drafting is so important for this year, because this year, which is a prelude to next year of La République elections, is crucial, because we are foreseeing, political observers are foreseeing chaos and fighting in La République du Cameroon.
Yeah.
You cannot imagine that there's a government that is answerable to nobody, because the old man has become incapacitated. The ministers are dysfunctional. They do what they like because there's nobody that can call them to account. Number two, the institution that is supposed to judicially take notice of a vacancy in the presidency is also incapacitated. How? Clement Atangana, who is the president of the Constitutional Council, is also terribly incapacitated. He's even worse than his boss, Paul Biya, because he neither talks, no hears, no eats, and is a stack of bones sitting on a wheelchair. Secondly, his direct assistant died and has been buried, called Joseph Owona. That council has become incapacitated. The third point is the Senate, that the president of the Senate, who was supposed to take over, according to the Constitution, who was supposed to take over after a vacancy has been declared in the presidency due to incapacitation of the president, is also incapacitated. He's a very old man. Yes, he's sick, he's old, he spends most of his time in hospital in Paris. They bring him in a hired medical plane to come and pretend to appear to attend the Senate session, and they take him back. Well, the second in command is good and well is Lamido of Rebuba. Given the suspicion between the ruling Betty in Yaoundé and the North, they will not take the chance to treat with the first assistant without first declaring the president of the Senate incapacitated and vacant. They won't take that risk because they don't want to lose power. So Ngongo, who is just the Secretary General, the Secretary of the President, who had powers to sign in place of the powers of signature in place of the president, is now acting as a de facto president. That is why you watch the arrival of the diplomat from the United States to Unity Palace last week. You will see that he met with Ole Ngongo. He had a discussion over Ngongo, and that is an indication to the world that there's a power vacuum in Yaoundé and there's chaos. Because when you have a prime minister, administratively the prime minister, I'm not talking politically or protocol. I'm talking about administrative management. After the president is the prime minister. Why did the diplomats not go to the prime minister? Because they know that the power is in the hands of the president's secretary. And so they went and met Ngongo. And they discussed Ngongo. And to make it worse, the French embassy is just executing the agreement that they had with Cameroon. Why? If you read the Accord de Coopération of 1959, it clearly states that in case of incapacity, of the president of Cameroon, the French ambassador can act in lieu of the president. And does that give that French ambassador the audacity to enter into the internal affairs of any country, even if you had an agreement? And that agreement that was signed in 1959, with the legal interpretation of that agreement now, is that it's no longer impossible because it was signed before independence of La République du Cameroon. And when the Republic of Cameroon became independent in 1960, that agreement was supposed to have been nullified. But hey, it is still in existence. You can see the way the French ambassador is behaving. He has the audacity to go to Bamenda, of all places, in the southern Cameroon.
Actually, I would agree with you to say that he is actually the real president of
that is the impression. That is the impression that is given to the world. That is now the president of La République du Cameroon, which includes Ambazonia.
It is not just an impression; it is an affirmation, and that's why
an affirmation of the Accord de Coopération. Now,
yeah,
how does that concern? How does that concern Ambazonia? It is because he crossed the Mongo, he crossed the territory of the La République du Cameroon and entered the territory of the southern Cameroons, which was not part of that agreement. And he goes to Bamenda and he cannot talk to the public. Yes, he goes to Bamenda.
Was to underline it and to actually speak more on the significance of tonight's draft, because we cannot continue.
Yes.
We must cue into the president's energy of the exit draft.
Correct.
We cannot continue to have our territorial integrity and national sovereignty being violated and defied in this manner. Barrister Mbesa, how are we ready?
Excuse me, buddy. Let me talk about the draft. The Midland is the powerhouse. The Midland is the powerhouse of the southern Cameroons. The Midland.
We're going to come to that place.
Therefore, every son and daughter of the Midland must come today and show that we need the money, and the money must come. A lot of it must come from Mezam, Momo, Manu, and Libialem to enable us to react to whatever is going to happen.
We'll get into that. I just want us to follow a particular pattern so that we can save time. Barrister Mbesa, how must we get ready when the egg finally cracks in Yaoundé? Please talk to us.
Yes, we must get ready by drafting as we are trying to draft. But before I address it, just permit me to go back a second. In the last segment, we're talking about these cases in Nigeria. I bring this up because I'm presuming that our brothers, lawyers, who were in Nigeria purportedly trying to bargain the House of Representatives to act, are following us. This is important for them to know. Because I read through their case. There's something missing there, which if they could amend it, might be useful. What is going on now? Even if they brought back Sako and 100 or 200 others, that is not going to end the war. The war that we are in now was predictable, was preventable by Nigeria. Because in 2002, the very Abuja High Court, with the consent of the federal government of Nigeria, agreed to table our matter, which is the same matter now, before the ICJ and other institutions for a resolution. That was more than 20 years ago. They never did it. That was 2002. Since 2002, there have at least been 5 presidents in Nigeria. That was under Obasanjo. After Obasanjo came Shagari. After Shagari came Jonathan. After Jonathan came Buhari. And now we have Tinubu. The Nigerian House of Assembly or Parliament has the powers to tell the government to enforce that judgment by simply tabling our matter before the United Nations and other relevant organizations. The matter would have been resolved. This war would have ended. They have that power because all our refugees in Nigeria are living in different states where these parliamentarians and politicians are from. They are bearing the pains of the refugees. And so they can do that. If our brothers who took this case to that place can amend the thing to emphasize more on Nigeria, the federal government, implementing the decision of the 2002 Abuja High Court. That will take us a little bit further. That said, let me come to your issue. Now, we are drafting. We must draft. I must draft. I must draft. And we will win. Why? Because as the battle lines draw down, we are able to identify the person we are fighting against. There are all indications clear, not arguable, that we are not fighting La République du Cameroon. We are fighting against France. It's not an imagination. Whether Paul Biya is alive or dead is immaterial. Even when he was still very, very active, there's nothing Paul Biya would do without the approval of France. In 2007, 2018, he was very, very active. He needed the consent of Macron. He said it with his own mouth. To call the Ghana dialogue, to discuss anything he wanted to do. He had to go, he told the world he was going to give account to President Macron of France. So it is not me saying it. He needed the consent and the authority of France, President Macron, to release Camto when they were locked up there. He needed the same thing to release Guambala and the rest. So we know that we are in the face of France. And why? As I said, Basanso has addressed the issue very, very well. But let me add more to what he said. You see, when you see the ambassador of France in Bamenda, he did not go to Bamenda without the approval of Yaoundé, of the presidency. Talk less of without the approval of the Élysée, President Macron. But here he is in Bamenda. You see, it's not enough to just say what he did. No. When you see diplomats, everything they do carries a significance in it. Look at the press, see the ambassador of France standing in Bamenda. See the way he's addressed. He's dressed up. He's in Bamenda attire. But above all, the top ranking officials there included the Minister of Urban Development, they included the colonial governor, and he was in the middle. And what were they carrying? They were carrying, all of them, peace plans. The ambassador carried a large bunch of peace plans. So what does that mean? What does that mean diplomatically? They are coming directly. France is coming directly to us. Doesn't matter where it was in Bamenda or it's coming directly to us to say, because we're the opponents in this battle, we want peace. He doesn't know what that stick means. That stick means a lot of things to us, that peace plans. And so he can't before Amazonia, anywhere in Boya, in Cambe, wherever, carrying peace plans and begging for peace. And then you read more into what he does, as Brighton says. You say, ambassadors in general don't go to promote government political policies globally. I've told you before. They carry out projects, individual projects, like digging a borehole, like building a school, a health center. Americans do that. Then the American ambassador will go and open it, or the Japanese ambassador, or which country has said them. They will go and open that particular project. But they don't go out to sell government policy wholesale.
Government agenda.
Coming to us Ambazonians through his presence in Bamenda and say, look, we want to do decentralization. Not just doing it, tell us the amount of money that will involve.
That was a direct improvement.
Yes, that is not even all. Telling the type of jobs that thing will create. Embassies, foreign embassies don't create jobs for local people. So it just narrows it because that we know that we are facing France.
We are really under siege. And this is French occupation. This is not even Cameroon's occupation.
Yeah, does this thing mean anything in the draft? A lot. A lot. Again, as we said last week, I remember, coincidentally, that very week, the American diplomats in Yaoundé, seeing the de facto president, Mr. Ngongo. And so since this thing started, even Ngongo himself, who is the acting president, has not shown up in Bamenda or in Boya under high instructions.
Yeah.
If you come to Bamenda or to Boya and say, oh, under high instruction from President Paul Biya, nobody would have questioned it. We know that he's the one running. But he has not done it. Their boss, who is from France, has done it. They're not even doing it under any agreement. No. They have, over the years, ruled Cameroon. I've said this many times before. There has never been any elections in Cameroon as instructed by France. In 1959, 1960, when they had independence, there was no elections. France just imposed, say that's your president.
I
became, yes.
The slaughtered Biya and imposed Aijo.
In 1964, when they purported to do elections, Aijo imposed him and created a list system. In 1966, France told Aijo, you have to go one party. And so they have been doing all this over the years. And then now we have in Yaoundé a military president in the name of ambassador coming to us and begging for peace.
I wish, Barrister Mason, please you bear with me to intercept there for the purpose of time. I wish we had all the time to look at it intricately, how Amazonia can also tackle French intrusion diplomatically, not just with the effort we're doing now with defense. But I hope next week, it's not a discussion we can exhaust overnight. I hope that next week we'll get into that aspect of how we can tackle this French intrusion or the Franco-Cameroon hegemony that is a major force to contend with. If it is actually the vertebra of the war that we're currently fighting. Now, we've had the president come out strongly to talk about elections. It was very clear in his, I'm going to play that audio at the end of this conversation before we transition into the Zoom, so that those who have not heard it can hear once again. But there's something Cameroon is already planning to organize, and we know what that means. That is the 20th May. Undaunted, I don't know if you can hear me. Onye, can you hear me? Star Smart, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Just
you.
speak so I'm sure of yourself. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand that you have a report in this regard. So I'd like you to get that for us very quickly. And as soon as that is done, we will be able to handle other aspects of tonight. Please talk to us.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ta. I hope you can hear us clearly.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you very clearly. Please.
All right. So the ongoing, we're going to take a look at the fake May 20th celebration. So the ongoing Southern Cameroon Zambazonian War of Independence, which we know that is what we are on now, combined with political instability, poverty, and human rights violation by La République du Cameroon terrorist forces have led many Cameroonians to seek asylum in other countries. Now, the ravaging war being a major factor, the Amazonian War of Independence has been ongoing for several years now, and there is a real concern among many Cameroonians that the situation could deteriorate further. Now, the annexationist colonial government in Yaoundé has been accused of human rights abuses and heavy-handed tactics in its attempt to quell the insurrection for self-determination, and this has caused many to lose faith in the ability of the corrupt state to protect them, which has caused a massive exodus of youth from both paths of the Cameroons.
All that on one hand, while Canada has become the new El Dorado where jobs abound for the fleeing youths of the Cameroons, La République du Cameroon tightened its security ahead of the May 20th fake National Day. The report reaching Undaunted outlines the presence of plain-clothed colonial forces in La République in the southern Cameroons as well, particularly though in Yaoundé, who engage in tactics of coercion and extortion. These forces initiate conversations condemning the government, then accuse individuals of harboring anti-patriotic sentiments. When they opine in the conversation, what they do is they get in buses in public places, start a conversation against La République's regime, and whoever joins in becomes the scapegoat, leading to arrest of these individuals, torture, and extortion. Amazonians, displaced persons, and critics of President Paul Biya are often their usual target. La République forces security operations seems to have intensified in recent times, with arrests of over 100 civilians made across various cities by these plain-clothed La République forces. And for the record, they dress in plain clothes, not in uniforms, to deceive the population to make you open up about the obvious stalemate of the administration in La République. Well, still ahead of the May 20th fake La République National Day, the Colonial Gendarmerie also launched control operations in Yaoundé to, quote, combat crimes. But then this is resulting in numerous arrests, particularly targeting individuals without identification papers and drug traffickers, according to them. The gendarmerie even emphasizes collaboration with residents. So with this, you get to see that they are starting this operation to force the population to be a part of the May 20th fake National Day. I think it's about time we just hand it over to you, Mr. Ta, to do justice with this report.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would have loved to have you even talk a little bit more on this aspect of the 20th May. That's just where we will focus this evening. Cameroon, over and over again, Barrister Mbesia is not willing to stop the fakeness. They want to have 20th May celebrated in our nation against all odds. We know the memory behind this day, and we know it is another abuse of us as a people. Talk to us as we prepare to draft tonight.
Yes, Paddy. 20th May will not and should not take place in Ambazonia. That is why this draft is so important, so that we'll have the means to ensure that 20th May does not take place, just like the other celebrations before it, 11th of February and now 20th May. 20th May will not take place in Ambazonia. And the preparation of this 20th May will tell us where Paul Biya is, whether he is still there. Let him come and stand as the president of La République du Cameroon and review the troops, as it is customary on every 20th May since it was instituted. Everybody is waiting to see La Republic president, or whether it will be Pobia or Ngongo, reviewing the troops. Then we will know that La Republic may still have their president breathing. But that notwithstanding, he is virtually absent from governing. 20th May, we are going to make sure that all our military might is brought to bear, that nobody, no celebration takes place in Ambazonia. Well, they can go to Bamenda and go to Bamenda station and hold a party in one of those halls that they have there and celebrate their 20th May. But they cannot sit in that Commercial Avenue like before and celebrate 20th May this time around. It will not happen. I don't know about Boya, but I am suspecting that it will not happen in Boya, because everything will be done to ensure that it does not happen anywhere in the southern Cameroons. I am now passing this message to all bona fide Ambazonians, all bona fide southern Cameroonians, both in the Atlantic, the Midland, and Savannah, to ensure that this 20th May, which is a very dark day in our history, is not celebrated in any shape or form in our territory. And that is a message that we should be talking from now on until 20th May. We'll have about 22, 23 days to that time. So the draft tonight should be done with that in mind, that we have a job to do. The exit draft is what it says what it should do. Exit the chaos in La République du Cameroon. The stopping of the 20th May will be an important landmark action for the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Southern Cameroons.
But Sambesia, very quickly, we know that Cameroon is even aware that what they call fête nationale is all a fraud. It's an avoidance of historical facts, which clearly states that Cameroon had their independence on the 1st of January, and Ambazonia had theirs more than a year later, on the 1st of October 1961. Now, can you tell us very briefly why Cameroon is insisting on having this celebration and forcing the wrong history in the minds of the young ones growing? Barrister Mbesia, please. Why do you think Cameroon, under the inspiration of France or auspices of France, wants this day celebrated desperately?
I think we have to take them from what they say, what comes out of their mouth. They don't just call this a national day now. They call it Fête Unité. That is a unitary feast day. And if we're Ambazonians, I think we can all agree, even federalists, if there's nothing to remember about 20th May, it is the day on which the so-called federation was abolished. The referendum abolished the federation. And so even federalists who want to be in one Cameroon and return to federation, of how many states I don't know, should celebrate this day as a day of mourning, because that's the day they abolished their federation. And so it's a national day of mourning. This should go across the board. If I'm in jail, and those in jail can do that, even in jail, you can do something symbolic to show that this day is a day of mourning for any Ambazonian. At the very least, you can wear a black ribbon, even in jail, They will take note of that. Why are you mourning? We are mourning for the destruction of Amazonia. And so can any Amazonian today, even those who disagree with us with total independence, can they go out to celebrate anything called 20th May? And then they will ask him for a return to the Federation. Then what are you celebrating? So it is not, Cameroon has never made the mistake to call it their Independence Day. Now they know that they have Independence Day. They know that we have an Independence Day ourselves. But we call this Fête d'Unité, that is National Unity Feast. But given what is going on now, right now that we speak, there's any Cameroonian, that does not just talk about Ambazonia, there's any Cameroonian living in Garoua, living in Betua, living anywhere there, who has lost his or her son in this battle, believe that 20 May was worth the thing, or even worth celebrating. It is because of 20th May, that they are losing their own brothers and sisters in the battlefront. And so it's a national day of mourning for all Ambazonians, and it should even be the same national day of mourning for all Cameroonians. Because there's nothing to celebrate in the 20th May, in the event of 20th May, that has brought them so much pain, physically by dying in the war, economically by bringing the economy to zero, politically by making them a laughing stock in the world. So there's nothing to celebrate in 20th May for Ambazonians in particular. Again, if they force you, which I think nobody will force you, I can say, just like Barson says, that they will not celebrate. But there's also much we can do. They can come there, I think, last 20th May, they can bring their tanks and put there, take pictures in Bafusam or in Beto, and put them on the screen, the 20th May. There's nothing we can do about that.
Mister, this is where my question is. Why that so much desperation to have this? Because it's important. I have an idea, but I want people to understand so that I can understand why we are resisting against it. What is the significance of this day being nationally celebrated? Why that desperation? Why is Cameroon so desperate to have this day celebrated at all means? They will have militaries everywhere. They just want the pictures. Why are they insisting on having a fake day being celebrated? That is where I want you to speak, and do it briefly, please.
Okay, let me give you a brief answer as you require. You see, they celebrate this day as Unity Day because it goes down to their intention way back in 1961, 1959. They voted against Resolution 1608.
Yeah.
It was important to them. And since that day, they have never talked of unification. They've always talked of reunification.
Reunification.
But there was nothing practical to show them because of the government in Boya. Having abolished the government in Boya, which satisfied their overall goal of forcing Anglophones into their camp. And so they call it is achieved. Now we can all celebrate. Remember, if you read the history of the UPCs, they were the first people to say, oh, let us bring Anglophones together for independence. We must come back to constitute the German Cameroon before independence. So for them, it was a big achievement historically. What they contemplated in their mind to absorb Anglophones into a certain thing called Cameroon, which I've said here, I think I've had the time to explain. Because they went further. Even when Northern Cameroon lost went to Nigeria, they went to The Hague to insist that they should not even have voted to go to Nigeria. They would have come back to us.
Yeah.
And so in 1972, just 10 years after the so-called federation, they abolished it and coined the date National Day of Unity because the Anglophones had been effectively absorbed.
But apparently you want to make a comment.
Yeah. Let me read your mind, buddy. Let me read your mind. The diplomatic pressure on La République du Cameroon now warrants them to show that they have overcome the crisis
Yeah.
and that they are in control. right now. It's crucial for them to do everything to show that the crisis in their so-called Northwest and Southwest has abated, and
Yeah.
they now have you can tell from the celebration of the 20th May that of the Unity Day that things are going back to normalcy. That is the only explanation I have for the so-called frenzy now, because the diplomatic pressure is quite high. It's quite high, and coupled with the chaos. But they are not looking at the negative side of what 20th May may produce them. If Mr. Bia is unable to stand and review the troops, what message are they sending to the rest of the world? That there's a power vacuum.
Yeah.
There's a power vacuum. The man is incapacitated. Everything is blocked. There's nothing moving in Cameroon. I don't know whether they are going to arrange him and bring him to come and stand. We are still to see on 20th May. But this particular one is so important.
Yeah.
Because of diplomatic pressure.
Yeah. We're actually looking to see how they're going to gather him. Like they do. There were those who were insinuating that the last speech he made to the nation was an AI. Well, they will do everything. France will do everything to maintain him. Next week is going to be more interesting because we're going to get into the diplomatic aspects of today's discussion, and also to see why France is still maintaining him there, his involvement with Russia and many other things. It's very important, and whenever we have undaunted ladies putting on the Togo outfit, I cannot stop. We've come to the Midlands, and that's the major outfit in the Midlands. Last week we had that of Manu when the president was touring Manu. So we hope that the people of Manu and the BLM will not be offended that Undaunted decided to dress today majoring Momo and Mezam. Ambazonia is one and indivisible. That should be understood. So I want to take the opportunity to thank Kemi Ashu, who dressed the ladies today with the beautiful outfit you're seeing, and also to solicit to other Ambazonians who are watching us. If you like them to put on your traditional outfit, you can follow suit and learn from Kemi Ashu to dress them. We'll be glad to do that. You can contact management, Ma Endele, and the outfit they will have the outfit. So I also understand that Onye has an overview of what made the news this week. But before we get into that, let's have a sweet break and welcome music from the Midlands. Right after that, we'll get to the overview, and I hope those coordinating the program and the Zoom would be taking over from us at that point. Stay tuned.
Cha mankungai. Cha bugai. Nu kwarni sana la.
Kon konde maga kota komati kon tangane kon famako kon gwa mama kon da furu kon gwa fo people ngana wa awon fo zele enzen pinzen man kon kuye ne doro na mazenye man kuma abugina wemte na ngane miye a ko nyoma bugina koro man kuma
Fuzayana Begin acquire a sign of life. Benanga, begin a teen and chant to a more. While the big folk, yeah. Oh, begin a teen and farm woman. Begin teen dinner. And look at that, we're gonna. I begin a get longer. And I'm the two Mamazagana, Gangana, I'm a young to no Lazaga. Bring a laugh. bomba ma Bela mangwaga mwizu wiye Tenka Ngama kong tenkara
Bagana lambi zinga Bagabela bomba Ala kona me anjin timbo Anzanga jizigangwa Bagana samta kuwana tema zaga Tanke manzitang zagana Tankanga kona me te chiga Anjizigangwa Timbiza emubonta kumfeme
Ajanga taradi ina Bengkengo nyirba Abegi betena Kumongwong fangkwata
Bagana lambi zinga Bagabela bomba Ala wona me anjin timbo Anzanga jizigangwa Bagana samta kuwana tema zaga Tanke manzitang zagana Tankanga wona me te chiga Anjizigangwa
Ogum fushela Otango meketibando Lame memzo danta Anuma tika obanza
Wow, that is in Mancon.
That is amazing. You know, when I listen to this, the ingenuity, the talent, the spirit, and then I begin to ask myself questions. We were told that Bikusi and Douala are the best languages that can make music. It's unfortunate that some of my brothers still believe this until today, and this was done in Gemba. How sweet
Correct.
and how beautiful it is. If you feel the urgency of what is happening right now, then tonight should be a reflection of what is in you. Vice Fro, please.
Yes, as I was saying, the Midland is a central point, the heart of Amazonia. The legs are in the Atlantic and the head is in Savannah, but the heart is in the Midland. And therefore, every son and daughter of the Midland, Mezam, Momo, Manu, and Libialem, should come together today and ensure that we have a successful exit strategy. Today is a turning point in our revolution. Therefore, I'm calling on every son and daughter of the Midland. And since I'm a son from Mezam, I am hoping that all the 7 LGAs of Mezam will show their might today. I am also hoping that all the LGAs of Momo will also show their might, the might that they have shown over the since we started this draft. Momo, Mezam, Manu, and Libialem had shown their might. Forget the fact that Libialem, the coup plotters did what they did, but Libialem had shown that it is the heart of Amazonia. So we are expecting that miracle, that show of the heart today.
Those before you speak, Barrister Mbesia, I want to give kudos to the leadership once again of Momo. I don't want to call names so that I don't miss the name of one. Of Momo, of Mezam, of Lebialem, and of Manu.
Manu.
You know, it is said, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Much is expected.
You are being on the spotlight of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia for 2 years now, and receiving all the badges, the criticism, because Ambazonians hold you of very high esteem. And so much is expected of you. We cannot deny the fact that these counties in the Midland play a very strategic role from 2016 into today. You know what, like Barrister Fru said, Lebialem did. You understand? For those who even believe that the war in its strictest sense started in Manu. We know what Manu is doing even to today.
Yep.
And that's why the
Yep.
enemy, strategically, they understand the importance of the geographical and the topographical importance of Momo. They would have to make sure that they use a proxy like Chuayaba to have his hub there. Mezam, as a monopolitan place, particularly Bamenda, occupies an important role that can never be undermined. Bamenda is the heart not just of the Southern Cameroons when it comes to people taking action to ignite revolutions. In the Cameroons, the word Bamenda, at the mention of the name of the word Bamenda, fear is triggered in every quarters in the Cameroon. So this is quite important. Ambazonians are looking up to these counties, and I want to appreciate the leadership of these counties, of the great work they are doing to put things together. Today is an opportunity for you to tell Ambazonians that you are ready to make it happen for them, for the over 60,000 lives that have been wasted. Vice Ambesia, please.
Thank you for having me. You see, this Midland draft is important, absolutely important, because as President Sol says, this geographical area called Midland is also a very important historical remembrance in the struggle. If we look back at the history of Amazonia, you remember that in 1959, there was a Manfe conference. People converged in Manfe to decide what they want the United Nations to do for them. They decided, even though things will change. There was another conference, the Bamenda Conference. There were only two conferences, OC about Bamenda and Manfe. And to be remembered that in 1959, there was nothing like Momo. There was nothing like Libelem. So what they call Manfe and Bamenda embodied these new entities called Libelem and Momo. And so we have a very important, significant political role to play in the liberation of Amazonia, historically. And so that's where the decision was always made. We intend to make it here. And being in this struggle right now, in this revolution now, we continue to make history for good reasons and sometimes for very bad reasons. As we go to draft for the Midland, let everybody here be reminded that this Midland includes Momo. This Momo includes Batibo. And Batibo is the only place in Amazonia for time immemorial from day one, from 1961, that would witnessed public executions. There has never been a public execution anywhere in Amazonia, even under Ahijo. Nothing ever happened like that. And so the coup plotters came, they were supported by Yaoundé, and they carried the first public execution in Momo, in Batibo, in Guza. And so those events have come to pass, but they should spare us all to stand up and say, no, never shall it happen again. And we have stopped it, and will continue to stop it. I will continue to do what we want to do, only if we draft. If we put the fuel into the engine, then the engine will run faster than what we think about. And so again, remember Manfe, remember Bamenda Conference, the two conferences I had before 1961. And remember the two Manfe, Bamenda today it comprises Mayo, Mezam, Momo, and Ibielem. So be encouraged, put your hands deep into your pockets, get out anything that comes out. At the very least, first thing, to free ourselves from this bondage of Yaoundé. Secondly, to make sure that no public execution ever take place anywhere
In
In Amazonia.
Amazonia anymore. It has never taken place. It has time to be corrected if anybody has new one. It does not mean that people are not sentenced to beware.
I would tell you, Mr. Ambesia, it is not possible for what you have just said now to have been said any better. Two important things I like to bring back as a recap of what you said. Number one, the Bamenda Conference and the Manfred Conference that of historical importance. Number two,
Yep.
for the first time in history, a peace-loving people will will have our women, our mothers, our brothers and sisters. It will take decades for them to be healed of this trauma. They will be gathered into a square, in a market square, and their own people will be executed right in front of them. This happened in Momo. If there's any reason that you want to draft, or you were thinking that you're not going to draft, if this can be of any reason for you, if this means anything to you, if this must stop, if it must not happen again, then tonight you must not take it lightly. Onye has an overview of what made the news this week. That is where we will probably be concluding this section of tonight's program. After that, we'll have some commentaries to make. And if the organizers of this event, I understand the president is already waiting in the Zoom. I also would like those who are watching us to keep sharing the Zoom link and inviting others. We're about hitting the mark. As soon as the vice president ushers us in, we will intercept this show. Right after this overview by Onye Okpala, we'll come back to conclude with our analysis. Stay tuned.
Here is what made the news this week in Ambazonia from Undaunted perspective. This week on Undaunted, we dedicated our coverage to a rigorous observation of the ongoing war, its economic repercussions, the plight of Ambazonian refugees worldwide, with a notable focus on Nigeria and the socio-economic challenges due to inadequate facilities for the well-being of those on the home front. The Ambazonian State Army, ASA, continues to play a critical role in the prosecution of the war, aiming to make governance impossible for La République du Cameroun, which in response has employed severe measures against Ambazonian civilians, including depriving some areas, such as the Ngoam neighborhood of water. This denial of essential resources underscores the broader challenge of access to basic necessities in Ambazonia. One remarkable instance of resilience and self-help was observed in Kuvlu, Bui County, where formidable women have led road rehabilitation initiatives. This project highlights a grassroots efforts to mitigate the severe degradation of local infrastructure, which has suffered from neglect during colonial times and has been further exacerbated by the current conflict. The hope is that after the Kuvlu Road, similar endeavors will extend to the Ring Road and Womb Road. However, the colonial government's repressive measures extend beyond the denial of basic human needs. It actively interferes with any efforts towards freedom, including freedom of speech and assembly. A significant instance this week was the confirmed report of the La République du Cameroun outright burning individuals dubiously labeled as in-house slaves and Southern Cameroon's bonds from organizing an all-Anglophones conference. This move raises critical questions about who benefits from such actions. It's important to note that the term Anglophone fails to accurately represent the people of Southern Cameroon, serving instead as a derogatory term that undermines their historical and legal status. This week's news brings to light a significant development related to the controversial Nkambe bomb blast on the 11th of February, which coincided with a coerced march involving students during the contentious Colonial Youth Day celebration. Recent investigations have revealed the true perpetrators behind these strategies. Reports from La République du Cameroun proxy media Mimi Melfour, a platform previously accused of hastily blaming Ambazonian freedom fighters, have taken a pivotal turn. The latest update indicates that the vigilante group led by Ngala Gerald, a staunch loyalist of the ruling CPDM party, was actually sponsored by the colonial government of La République du Cameroun to carry out the attack. The reality of poor security is already well known. The involvement of a vigilante group in such act is scarcely surprising. If a colonial divisional officer DO can be part of a kidnapping gang, what then prevents a vigilante from being implicated? The escalation of insecurity, kidnappings, and ransom within the Cameroon represents a worrying trend. At the beginning of this series on Monday, we addressed a report of a colonial DO involved in such acts. Several factors may be contributing to this state of affairs. One prominent factor is the ongoing war in southern Cameroon, that is the War of Independence, which has precipitated a breakdown of law and order in many areas of the country. Despite these challenges, there continues to be an eagerness to solicit votes from the Ambazonians. It is clear, however, that democratic elections have never truly occurred in Ambazonia, given La République du Cameroon's history with electoral fraud. Ambazonians have expressed no intentions of considering participation in such a flawed process. In a controversial move, Joshua Osei, the incumbent chair of the Social Democratic Front, was observed attempting to sway Ambazonians in Boya, particularly youths, towards election participation. This action has been proposed as an essential step in shaping the nation's future, a nation we must question, founded on what principles. Osei's call for engagement in the political process amidst the ongoing struggle for independence in southern Cameroon has ignited controversy and accusations of hypocrisy. As we delve further into the dynamics of colonial governments, the intimidation and manipulation of Ambazonians to partake in what they deem as fraudulent elections, effectively a selection, remain salient issues. The president of Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Sako, has issued a southern message warning against organizing or participating in the colonial government's election in Ambazonia, an advisory that continues to reverberate widely. It is a fervent hope that the people will heed this wise counsel. Equally troubling is the recent visit of the French ambassador to Bamenda, the conflict epicenter between the two Cameroons in Ambazonia, which has sparked significant concern over France's persistent interference in the sovereignty of southern Cameroons. The French ambassador's actions not only undermines Ambazonian sovereignty, but also blatantly involves themselves in internal policies. This situation underscores the leadership's vacuum in Yaoundé and signals an inglorious reflection onto the real locus of control. Ambazonians perceive the ambassador's agenda, particularly the promotion of the highly contested policy of decentralization, as a stark attempt by France to recolonize and assimilate the nation. This move aims to obliterate the unique identity and governance system of Ambazonia. This narrative sheds light on the ongoing struggle for autonomy in southern Cameroon, painting a picture where Ambazonians view the French ambassador rather than Paul Biya as a true orchestrator of policies affecting their land. This perception not only highlights the complexities of colonial legacies, but also the convoluted policies that continue to hinder self-determination and genuine sovereignty in the region. In conclusion, this week's report from Undaunted ABC Amber TV highlights the ongoing struggle of the Ambazonian people against a backdrop of war, economic hardship, and the relentless pursuit of their right to self-determination. Despite facing enormous challenges, the community's resilience and self-reliance shines through, exemplifying their undaunted spirit in the face of adversity.
Fellow Ambazonians, fellow Southern Cameroonians, and especially our Ambazonia State Army, Ambazonia State Armed Forces. This message now for all week. I want to make you not forget anything what they talk for this message for you. Make you not forget one line for what we are talking. Because we get the following thing the way if any man do for inside Ambazonia from today is a crime. That one a total punishment where that person must get. Matter of fact, the community will decide whether a capital punishment or which kind of punishment, but na crime. That means if you do any of these things, then from this day forward, you are a criminal according to the law of Ambazonia, and they will deal with you appropriately. That means according to number one, for be a member of any political party inside Ambazonia, unless the political party where now the government of Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia, now give them authorization to operate. And to the best of my knowledge, we never accredit, we never authorize, we never give legal paperwork for any political party for operate inside Ambazonia. So for you for belong to a political party where it be authorized by the colonial genocidal government is a crime in Ambazonia. Whether not they call it a CPP, whether they call it a LDP, whether they call it a CPDM or a SDF, for you for belong because na colonial party than that, because they be authorized by the colonial government. For you for belong to any political party authorized by the colonial government, you commit a crime of treason. Number two, to support a political party inside Ambazonia is also a crime. The crime of association. That means that you don't associate yourself with criminals, therefore you are a criminal. Number three, all election matters inside Ambazonia na capital crime for Ambazonia. Na crime. Na number one bad for inside Ambazonia where it be na treason, because that means that for register for vote for Ambazonia, anybody where they carry a card where they call and say voters card or register for vote, that person na criminal. In name na criminal for inside Amazon. You are a criminal. If they search you, they see any voter's card. Let me say you are a criminal. Criminal number one, committing the crime, what they call and say treason for inside Amazon. Let me say number four, to organize a political campaign. Some man call you say, "Me would you organize? Me will carry this thing. We want go make buy higher tent for here and so on. One go make political campaign because the one can make campaign. It's a crime in Amazon. And to attend the political rally inside house or outside, you will dress for go attend. You are a criminal. Why they pay you now 1,000 francs, 500 for campaign for attend? Whether it be wear uniform or not be wear uniform, or for you for go attend any political campaign, you be a criminal by association. And also for you for register, say you want stand election, maybe you want be candidate. The moment you give your name for inside to the colonial government of La Republique, say you want be a candidate for a political party, we go run for that election we organized by La Republique, you are a criminal. If your name just day for that list, you are a criminal. You commit the crime of treason inside Amazon. You will you share political poster. They want check your phone, you share them, you put someone them for your motor, you gum someone them for road, you throw someone them for road. If they catch you, where you share political poster them or t-shirt them, just say you share them, you are a criminal inside Amazon. You be a criminal. To be part of any political convoy, they come, you say you want drive go for matters them for go or you want drive go follow them for road for bring them, you be part of a convoy. They go, you follow them on motor. Why they give you now poop finger for your motor, they say may you carry them, may you follow them as a convoy or follow them come back, or they hire you on a motorbike, they say may on a big convoy when I go for part of the campaign. To be part of any political campaign convoy, whether na by motor basically or na by taxi them or na motor them, is a crime in Amazonia from today. I want make we understand say we get two countries, two governments. Yes, just like if you carry a political campaign for La Republique, carry and go for Ghana, and you drive all over the place where the Ghana government no authorize you. Now so too it dey for inside Amazonia. La Republique they no can't bring their political affairs inside Amazonia. No, and the one office where we don't already wipe out, dey again for inside Amazonia. If we catch you, you call yourself say you be part of that office, you are a criminal number one. That means say elecam or that people the way they say that they organize election. Every elecam official, every elecam office, every elecam bureau in Amazonia is a crime office. It's a criminal office. It's a place where criminals gather to commit crime against the state. That place no need for exist again for throughout Amazonia. And anybody will go present himself anywhere as somebody where they can organize election, that person is criminal number one. ASA wanna make sure say if you get way for enter, you no get way for come out. We don't ban the activities of elecam. We don't ban the activities of their workers. We don't ban their presence inside Amazonia. From now, this month of April 2024 to December 2025, anybody will go against this rule, this law them for inside Amazonia, well, the Amazonian people, they go show you who own the land. And make no talk say you be my brother, so you go break the law, you be alright. No talk say me and you be go for the same school, so you go break the law, or you be my neighbor, or be my countryman, or you did talk English like me. Therefore, you don't break the law, no bad. When it happen for you say no, we follow our own people them, we torment our own people them. No break the law, because punishment is bad now when you punish the innocent. But you don't hear the law today. If you go do this thing them, we don't talk say no electioneering inside Amazonia. If you do they catch you, that one they call and say torment. They call and say punishment for crime. The word to the wise is enough. If you get a brother, you get a sister, you get a mommy, you get a papa, you get a pikin, where you be involved in any way, in any kind of politics inside Amazonia, just tell it, say stop committing crimes against Amazonia and stay safe, because no man will come for you if inside this matter you be innocent. Thank you.
We will not stop streaming it so that you have no excuse to give to yourself. We've said that exhaustively. But even before we make a comment again on these laws and orders that have been passed by the President of the Federal Republic, let us look at some of the things that happened in the week. Barrister Mbesi, I understand that you spent a lot of time this week with Undaunted analyzing some of these issues. A striking instance, we have seen Amazonian mothers bury their death. This is terrible. It has never been a part of our history. Now we see them actually creating farm-to-market roads for themselves because of a mess in colonial administration. Along the week again, we saw very dangerous things happening. As we are trying to sensitize the population, Joshua Osi did not only propose to Cameroon to release Sako and friends as a way of ensuring normalcy so free elections can take place. He's gone to the roots and is freely gallivanting, probably doing campaigns, making speeches, which is a concern. So on these two issues, and probably the president orders, let's make some observations there and conclude. And I'm also telling the chief of staff and vice president that we are ready to stop as soon as you want us to stop. So from the message I'm receiving here, we have just 5 minutes. We are ready to stop at any time you want us to stop. At any time the officials want to begin, we are ready to stop. Please, Barrister Fru, briefly, and Barrister Mbesia, please. The Zoom link is out there. Try to share, ask people to join in. We're looking up to you, and I've seen the chief of staff sharing it everywhere. Please, those who are in the Zoom, you can join the crusade and share and share and share very widely. Barrister Fru, please. You have about 90 seconds.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, I was very surprised when I saw Joshua Osi Mboya, because this is the same man who signed a document asking that all of us here in the diaspora should be arrested and bundled to Yaoundé for trial. Yeah. Now he has the audacity to go to Boya and stand in Boya. This law that the president has just produced should apply to Joshua Osi anywhere they see him. I am not mincing my words. Anywhere that Joshua Osi is seen should be arrested and should undergo the punishment as enumerated.
The president called it capital punishment.
Capital punishment. He should be arrested, and the ASA should take him and do whatever.
And take care of him.
Yes, and take care of him. That goes to any other politician, any other person from Ambazonia, because there are a lot of enablers who come from Yaoundé. They come and parade around, and then go back to Yaoundé, and they are appointed senator, parliamentarian, and so on without election. You can stay in Yaoundé and do that, but don't step your foot in Ambazonia, because the law of Ambazonia will catch up with you. And from now, this month of April till December 2025, you are precluded on our land. It applies to all politicians of La République of Cameroon. Whether you are Ambazonian or you are not Ambazonian, you find yourself in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, you will be taken care of. And we cannot say more than that.
Just to add to that, as Barrister Mbesia makes his own comments, I've added to that. The president did not just say politicians or organizers. He also mentioned proxies. That you have, yes. It is illegal for you to own a registration card, an election card. Even if you own a bike, I'm inviting you to go to Matazek or any place for a campaign. Do not, because you will be considered as aiding and abetting. You'll be
arrested and you'll be arrested and taken care of.
You'll be taken care of. You'll be treated equally as the organizer himself. So please, be wise and be one. Barrister Mbesia.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on the issues during the week, but just give me a few seconds. Let me address what's important. From what we saw there, we saw modest digging a road. And you also added that they were burying their own children. The question is, why are these mothers burying their own children? Why are they digging their own roads? There was another segment in it. People being refused water to drink. This is water flowing in their own streams, and somebody will refuse you to fetch your water and drink. Basically, why? Who are those doing this to you? They are agents of the Cameroon. Why are they doing this to you? Because we ventured pretentiously to join them. Must you go through this in your own life? No, enough is enough. And then fast forward to the elections. It's not even a question of threatening you. No. Ask Mr. Joshua Osei, who has been in parliament for close to 27, 30 years. He has been there since 1997. He is from Douala, but by their own rule, once in parliament, he becomes a national politician. Let him show the Indian people from where he comes evidence that going to elections brings anything. Those women were digging those probably from there. So what is the balance sheet of his 30 years in parliament? The essence of parliament is to do development. What is development? Give you a road. What is development? Give you water to drink. If they don't have this record anywhere to show, must somebody go to risk his or her life? Never, never again. And unlike what my co-panelists have said, it's not even a capital punishment, because capital punishment means that somebody will try you and sentence you to 50 years, 100 years or death. No, it will be mob justice. Because blacklegging, being an accomplice, you face the natural law justice. People would come out and storm you to stones. We don't need to create courts to try you, because you're a total sellout if you cannot see this with your own naked eyes. I don't know where in Cameroon, in Amazonia, where you will show a road. Let them even show us the road. Let Osei, who is postulating for this nonsense, or anybody in the CPDM, or any other party, point to a road, point to a school, and say it is found on this budget in parliament where we passed. Absolutely zero. If somebody could take a piece of paper and call it was through the own wisdom of the Mr. Minister that I went and bribed him. And then they wrote down, create a school in Batibo, create a school in whatever place you call it. That is not the work of parliament. There's no need risking your life for a thing that is worthless. But we will not succeed, because we're not in the draft. We will not succeed until we draft. Pay the money. If you have prayers, pray. But that is not enough. You must pay in the widow's mite. Because your widow's mite will grow the mustard seed, will become the mustard seed. Until you produce the widow's mite, then God will bless your harvest. And the little that you give in will be multiplied by 1,000, by 1,000,000. That said, to end this segment, I will personally give my appreciation to the two ladies. And if it is possible, Paddy, secure this your picture. There are no other women in Africa more than this. These women stand out shining. I've seen a lot of on TV. I've not seen women behaving like this, in this attire. If they are not yet married, I'm sure they will have 1 billion sweaters by tonight. If they are married, they are married a very long time.
Now that you have spotlighted them, I would like
and the Nigerian and the Ambazonian market for women is open to all. Come in, get one, we multiply the generation of Ambazonians. Draft. The mustard seed will become victory, it will become the baobab tree. But you must put in your hands into your pocket, pull out 1 penny, and God will bless the effort. Prayers alone will not help. They will help their own way, but prayers alone will not bring the enemy. They will not hurt the enemy.
I don't know why the draft is delaying.
So I want to use this opportunity to thank Kemi Ashu once again for dressing the ladies this evening. And she has just increased their bride price, like Barrister Mbese is saying. Thank all Ambazonians who honored the president's invitation last week and made their donations to ABC Amba TV. As a media warrior, you are with us in this. We are together. It's a fight we must fight. It is a win we must win. I would like to thank all those who are still donating, those who pledged. The donations are still ongoing. But since we are spotlighting Mezam or the Midlands today, take note, ABC payment portals are user-friendly. Send in your donations now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to leave you again with this beauty from Mezam. And I think the organizers can take over from us.
Cha mankungai.
Hey.
Cha bugai.
Hey.
Ni kwarni sana la.
Mkon konde maga kota komati kontangwane ko famukon kongo amongomor konde furu kongo afo pifo nganwa awon fo zele enzen pinzen mankun kuye ne doro na mazenye mankunwa abgina wemte nangane miye akunye mo bgina koru mankunwa
Fuzayana Begin to quiet and shine a light. Been a good, begin to teen and chant to a more. While the big folk, yeah. Oh, begin to teen and find woman. Begin teen dinner. And look at that, we're gonna. I begin to get longer. Dam ta tua mama zugana ngana amya kyangta no wala zuga bigna la bomba ma bela mangwa ngwe zuwiye tsanka ngama kong tsankara
bigna la mizinga bigna bomba Anzanga jizigwa Bugana samta kuwana temazaga Tanke mansi dungzagana Tankanga gona mete chiga Anjizigwa Oh, tagantambo bobo Tambujingo witawa Ntimbiza Emu bongta kumfeme
Ajanga taradi ina Bengkengo nyeba Abeg betina Kungongwong fang kwata
Bugana lambizinga Bugabela bomba Ala wona me anjintimbo Anzanga jizigwa Bugana samta kuwana temazaga Donke manti dungzagana Tankanga wona mete chiga Anjizigwa
Ogum pushela Otango meketibando La membem zontanta Anuma tika obanza
Bomba Ala wona me anjintembo Anzanga jizigwa Bugana Temo Jamti Yare Jamta Jamta Jamti Jamta Mananga Bangala Yafu Doya Bangala Bangala Yarunga Jamti Yacha Vanessa, Vanessa, I love you. Vanessa, Manoa, Gotta never come on, Manoa, gotta never come on.
The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft, lies the power to liberate Ambazonia. The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft, lies the power to liberate Ambazonia. The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft, lies the power to liberate Ambazonia. The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities.
Her hand is up. The county chairs, please put up your hands so that the VP can easily identify you. So while the VP is doing that, welcome everyone. We apologize for the late start. We were waiting for the host counties to come in. The resource mobilization team has been ready since 8 p.m. Amber time, so it's not their fault. We want to thank everyone who is present. Thank you for making time to be here. Barrister Fu and Barrister Mbesia, thank you so much for that educative experience you have given us. I think those of us who followed, we've learned a lot from the discussions. And Paddy, thank you and your team for making sure that we get educated all the time, each time we have the draft. And I think that education about our country is very important also. So thank you very much. So even though we are starting late, we benefited from the discussions that were going on. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, fellow Ambazonians, well-wishers, welcome to this special draft. Our exit put up your hand so that we make you co-host. Chairman Sami, you are able to unmute, so you can unmute yourself. I see your hand up.
Yeah, Prof. There is some slight changes in the program. We have decided that all the county chairs, since all the other counties have been assigned to save time.
That's great. Yes, that will save us time. Great. Thank you for that. Can we have the person who is doing the opening prayer?
For justice and to fight for the people of Ambazonia. Father, we want to thank you, O God, for the Ambazonian leadership, the president and his executive, Father, the resource mobilization team. Father, I want to thank you for your grace and for your strength, O God, that you're giving them every day. They are beside, O God, they are busy schedule. Father, O God, they still have time to sacrifice for your people that are dying in Amazonia. Father, we want to thank you, O God, for your grace. We pray, O God, as we gathered here, O God, we know your presence is here. And I pray, Father, let the purpose for which we are gathered here come to fulfillment in the mighty name of Jesus. Father, I pray as people, O God, continue to sacrifice, O God, from their pocket. I pray that you replenish their sources, O God, that we will not tire, that we will continue to fight. We continue to fight until justice is served for your people. Father, even those that have passed on, my Father, I pray, oh God, may they, oh God, rest in the bosom of the Lord because they were fighting for justice. Father, I pray, oh God, that your people will not give up. I pray, oh Father, that the enemy will be defeated in the mighty name of Jesus. Father, I pray, oh God, that Lord, today, Father, I pray that let, oh God, everyone be encouraged. And I pray, oh God, that we would sacrifice and